You ever have someone look you dead in the eye and tell you, "This porch is for residents, not for the help. You can wait for your employer on the sidewalk like everyone else"? Yeah, that actually happened. You know, that moment when reality just sort of freezes. It's not even loud like in the movies. There's no record scratch. It's just the air thickening, your ears buzzing, and for a split second you're left hanging thinking, did I really just hear that? That was me. 1 minute life's this slow motion Norman Rockwell painting, early summer, perfect Saturday sunlight, warm but not boiling breeze, just enough to keep the bugs away. I was parked on my new porch swing, sweet tea, sweating in my hand, thinking, man, this is the good stuff. My wife Sarah and I, we'd finally scraped enough together to buy this house, our first house, the place we were going to put down roots and build our life. We painted the shutters deep navy blue, planted roses, poured ourselves into it. That porch swing, I spent 2 weekends sweating, cussing, and sanding splinters out of my hands putting that thing together. Felt like a throne. I was just settling in when I heard her voice slice through my Saturday like a rusty saw. A police cruiser idled at the curb. Standing on the walk was this cop, late 50s, maybe older, blonde hair, yanked back in a tight bun, face locked in a sour lemon pucker. Her hand rested on her hip right by the gun, casual. The whole scene was so absurd. I almost laughed. "I'm sorry." "What?" I said, trying to keep it polite. "You heard me?" she barked, stepping closer. Her eyes ran up and down like she was scoping out a bad tattoo. "Got a call about a suspicious person loitering casing houses. That you..." She actually said, "Get off the porch." My porch. Took me a second to process it. I looked around the roses, I planted the swing, I built the home I paid for. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Officer, I live here. This is my house." She laughed, one of those hollow, dry laughs that makes you shiver. "Oh, really? That's a new one. Let me guess. The Queen of England's your aunt. I've been on this force 30 years, son. I know every trick in the book. I know the good, decent family that lives here." She didn't have to say it, but the words hung in the air heavy as lead. The good family she remembered. They were white. We weren't. "Ma'am?" I started feeling my patience wear thin. "The previous owners sold us the house 2 months ago. My name's on the deed. I get my mail here. This is my home." She cut me off sharp. "I'm not your ma'am. I'm Officer Hemsworth and you're trespassing. Now get off this porch and put your hands on your head." That's when I realized this wasn't a mix-up. I was a black man, on my own porch, facing a white cop who'd already decided I was the bad guy. I'd seen this story on the news, only this time it was my skin on the line. "I'm not going to do that," I said, my voice wobbling between fear and anger. "I'm not a trespasser. If you want to see my ID, it's right inside." Wrong answer. Her face hardened, rage coming off her in waves. She stormed up the steps, handcuffs out, barking, "You're not going anywhere. Turn around, hands behind your back." Sun-faded breeze gone, world shrank to 6 feet of porch planks. The porch swing might as well have been a firing squad. I whispered, "You can't do this. This is my house." She spat back. "You failed to comply with a lawful order that's resisting arrest, and you're trespassing until you prove otherwise." Every bone in my body wanted to fight, to shout, to make it stop. But you learn early, move too fast, raise your voice, give them any reason, and it's over. So I turned around. Cold metal bit into my wrists. She jerked the cuffs tight, muttering, "You people think you can just come in and do whatever you want. No respect for property, no respect for authority." She shoved me through the swing, my swing. "On your knees." I almost laughed at the absurdity, but she shoved me down my knees, slamming the boards, my cheek pressed to the wood I'd stained with my own hands. Neighbors peeked through blinds, Mrs. Gable across the street clutching her robe mailman frozen on the walk. I was the main act in a grotesque little drama on my own damn porch. She asked my name, then fished my phone and keys out of my pockets, holding them up like trophies. "Could be anyone's," she sneered. Then her voice switched, radio cop, serious. "Dispatch. This is 3. Adam 12. Got 1 male in custody. 412 Maple. Responding to a suspicious person. Non-compliant. Need a transport." Lie after lie, building a story where she's the hero, I'm the threat. The wait for the backup car felt endless. I kept my head pressed to the wood, thinking about Sarah shelving books at the library, blissfully unaware. Finally, a young officer arrived. Officer Miller, as I'd later learn, and you could see the confusion on his face. He whispered something to Hemsworth, who just shook her head. He helped me up, walked me down my own steps past the roses, and put me in the back of the car. I caught Hemsworth's face as we pulled away, pure, smug satisfaction. She'd erased a problem, simple as that. The station was a fluorescent-lit tomb, all cinder block and bureaucracy, booking, fingerprinting, mugshot. You ever stand under a light so harsh it makes you look like you haven't slept in a year? That's what I looked like. They took my shoelaces, my belt, shoved my stuff in a manila envelope, reduced to a number, a problem to process. Hours later, after a holding cell that felt like solitary, I got my phone call. Sarah answered chipper. "What do you want for dinner?" I croaked. "Sarah, I'm in jail." Her shock cut me deeper than the cuffs. She was at the station in record time, burning with fury. On the ride home, she just kept repeating, "On our own porch." "Who is she?" "Officer Hemsworth, huh? She's going to regret this." I barely heard her. My world had gone numb, but her fire started to thaw me out. "We're fighting this," she said, her hand squeezing mine. "We're going to bury her in the truth." Monday, we lawyered up Ms. Evans, a civil rights attorney, who looked like she ate crooked cops for breakfast. She read Hemsworth's official report and just snorted. It was pure fiction, said I was belligerent, refused ID, lunged for the door, resisted. But then came the twist. Our neighbor, Mrs. Gable, had witnessed it, and her grandson had filmed 45 seconds on his phone. No lunge, no resistance, just me. Hands up or cuffing me. We handed the video to Ms. Evans. Checkmate, she texted back. That video was the gasoline for our fire. And boy, did Hemsworth not like being exposed. The police started harassing us. Bogus traffic stops, cruisers parked at the end of the block, Sarah randomly accused of misusing library computers. Then came the code violation letters. Porch swing didn't have a permit. Shutters weren't regulation, color fines piling up. It was petty, it was vindictive, but it was also perfect evidence for our case. Then out of nowhere, a plain manila envelope landed at Ms. Evans' office, a flash drive, anonymous. Body cam footage from the young cop who'd driven me in showed Hemsworth being told by Miller, "I think he's the homeowner." Hemsworth's reply, "You shut your mouth. He's a perp, that's all you need to know." And her phone call caught on mic. "We're sending a message. This little experiment on Maple Street is over. Consider the property value pre-lowered." It sounded less like racism and more like a business transaction. Ms. Evans started digging. Turns out 5 minority families on our street had sold cheap and fast after moving in, all bought by the same shell company owned by a pillar of the community named Peterson, who funded the same anti-housing group Hemsworth belonged to. Phone records, PI reports, it all lined up. Hemsworth was Peterson's enforcer, scaring folks into selling so he could flip houses to his cronies. This wasn't just prejudice, it was organized crime. With the body cam and the receipts, we dropped the bomb. FBI, state AG lawsuits, all of it. The town went into meltdown. Peterson's mansion raided, Hemsworth arrested, racketeering, conspiracy, civil rights abuse, you name it. Police chief suspended, code office boss, quit, historical society wiped clean. Suddenly, the neighbors who'd watched from behind curtains were up at town hall demanding justice. Even families who'd been run out came back to tell their stories. Maple Street, my street, was loud with truth again. We settled our civil suit for more money than I ever dreamed. But the real win wasn't the check, it was watching Hemsworth perp walked on the evening news, watching Peterson face a judge, hearing the community finally roar to life. For a while, though, home felt haunted, tourists driving by, neighbors whispering us, feeling like walking scars. We talked about leaving, but never did. Not until Officer Miller, the young cop, showed up and told us his own story. Turns out his grandparents built our house, and he'd known in his gut we belonged. He leaked the video out of love for his family's home and for justice. That changed everything. The house wasn't just a crime scene, it was a survivor like us, so we reclaimed it one memory at a time. We threw a porch party. Ms. Evans Miller, Mrs. Gable, everyone came. The porch swing, once a stage for my humiliation, became the throne of our celebration. We laughed, ate, let kids chase each other around the roses. We made that old swing ours again, made it a symbol of resilience. You look around at the world, you think justice is impossible until you find yourself fighting for it, one scar, one sleepless night at a time. Sometimes it takes burning the lies down to the ground just to plant the truth. So let me ask you, what would you do if the system was rigged against you? Would you take the easy out, or would you fight until there's nothing left to burn but the lies themselves? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know if you've ever had to stand your ground against injustice, or if you've seen a community come together and turn the tables. Because justice isn't some fancy word in a courtroom, it's something you build splinter by splinter right there on your own front porch.